Okay, so we're gonna continue. And during this break, I got a couple questions, and there's one ongoing question from Masaya. Why did you create normal? And he also earlier was asking, why did I create attribute create? And sorry, I went to kind of really quick here, but the reason I did was, first of all, if I get out from wireframe mode, and you see this kind of dark and dim, right? Compared to this one. And it's, it's because if you middle click this operator, it does not have a point normal. Actually, sorry, it does. But yeah, it's just probably not, in a great way. And then attribute create by turning on this compute normals, it just kind of quickly, automatically makes a nice normals. And, you might not know what the normals are. And normals are very important in 3D, rendering, shading, so how you see this hot spot. And this is because light, it's not that we made a light, but in this viewer, it has sort of default light going on. And, it making like little shadows, and, it makes it look like 3D shaded. And you can even turn on, I hit P. And if you turn on this point normals, and it looks like it's terrible, but yeah, so these are the normals. And, this is where the normals are facing to. And this is very important because, if you think of geometry, especially like this leaf, right? It's a flat and it needs to know which way it's supposed to be facing. And, this sphere, you don't have to do this, but has an inside as well. And, if it was facing inwards, it's not going to look right as far as this like lighting calculation goes. So yeah, I mean, that's how I can explain. And, it's always good to look at what they have to say. Yeah, it's to add normals and tangents to geometry. And yeah, normals and then also tangents is going to, we are going to need this later because I'm going to be using PBR shaders. So yeah, we are going to, kind of keep using this one. And I think that answers it. So yeah. Okay, let me see, this is an easier looking question. So how can I make only the lines at the edge of the shapes instead of appearing the whole shapes? Huh. How can I make only lines at the edge of the shapes? Oh, I guess I understood that choice question. I wonder, do you mean like you don't want to see this face of the circle, but you might want to just see the line? I don't know. If that's so, let me see if you can do NURM. Oh, that might not be a good idea. Don't do that. Okay, oh, sorry, I crashed it. So don't do a NURM. I'm gonna go back. Yeah, I like those questions. So yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can make, well, there's two ways we can think of this. You can actually make our geometry to be actually, line, like real wireframe line. If that's what you want to do, what you can do is after this circle, we can do, there's this SOP called wireframe SOP. It looks like a donut, which is fun, but make this radius really, really, skinny to the point that, it looks like a line, right? But I wouldn't suggest this way unless you actually want to, I don't know, make it look like a sort of, actually like a very 3D, if you just want this kind of skinny line, then I don't know if you remember the earlier example we did. where was it? This one. So, you can use this like, don't do it in the geometry, but just do it in the rendering. You can just render as a line, and that's faster. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, I think we're gonna keep going. Sorry, I can't answer. It's a little difficult question that I'm having a little hard time to understand. So, yeah, maybe I can take some time to answer that. Yeah. Okay, delete yeah. And that was good. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, okay. So now that that's been done, yeah, so I want to introduce some new rules after, we took a break. I think, I hope you are not overwhelmed. It's going to be more fun later. So I'm just trying to get through some basic rules that is going to help you, to, not necessarily like create like a totally complicated tree, but, you could, these rules, if you know these basic rules, you could look at the even complicated tree, but start modifying using like, just adding like a little symbol into existing example, and then you can make a very interesting looking things. So yeah, this is the semicolon, and this will yeah, what I'm trying to show right now is to make it a little bit more randomized, because it's kind of, for a plant, it's too perfect. So yeah, this will change the scale, how much angle based on like how much it has this, sorry, going back and forth, but if we select this L-system and go to the values page, we have the angle, but we have this angle scale. So this value will get multiplied each time generations goes up. So meaning the angle gets smaller and smaller if you multiply 0.7, right? And another one that's very similarly is the double quote, and that will do in a very similar manner length. Yeah, so that would be this one, step size scale. So each generation gets 0.90%, shorter and shorter. So let's see that in action. And where we add it, you can just add it at the beginning. So first one is the semicolon. You see, so it kind of went upwards. Let's make our angles spread out so that you can see a little bit more easily. Yeah, so you see at the bottom it's more of a 90, and then towards the top it goes more upwards. And plant I think does that, right? And yeah, so that's what it does. And this value can go higher than 1. It's not natural, but you could. It's multiplying this angle. Okay, and then the other one was the double quotation mark. Double. Okay, so this one corresponds to the step size scale, and as you change it, it gets smaller and smaller. And you usually don't want too much. And again, this one also, you can go higher than 1, and that means it gets bigger and bigger. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I hope this TouchDesigner users to make something just crazy that's not like a conventional L-system. things. I think there's a potential here. Yeah, we leave it at 0.9. But yeah, basics first. So I think I'm going to try to make it a little bit more natural looking plant. Yeah, not too much angle scale either. Just a little. Yeah. So let's say that I like that. Yeah, and then, you know, another thing that's really useful to know is this tilde sign. And what this does is to randomize. It basically randomizes, you know, we did this to row, right? Row, this to like go to right and like left, you know, this angles gets randomized. So I just add that simply at the beginning. Yeah, it's crazy, right? So for this one, maybe this is too random for me. So remember, we can add, you know, specify using these parentheses right after what you just did, and maybe 10% random. Yeah, you can, I don't know, if you want, you can do a little bit more. So yeah, nice, you know, little wiggly. And if you go to geometry, and here, the random seed. So this, you know, as soon as you add this tilde sign, you can create random different, you know, you can go more than this slider. It's a infinitely random sets of plants here. So yeah, I believe that's kind of, you know, what you want. And you can always just kind of, you know, find one you like and just call it that. That's the one. So say I like this one. Yeah. Okay, so on Aria, there was a good question about, yeah, we put color to, you know, these leaves, but we don't have any color on this line. And yeah, I wanted to maybe show you what we can do for this line. And there's, if you go to the example file, and then this is in this color widths under the techniques. And here, there are two examples. One is for the tubes, you know, geometry, actual tree. And I think this also, you know, it relates to what, you know, Troy was earlier asking about, you know, you want to render with a line like that. But since, you know, L-system, unless you change to a tube, when it's skeleton, it's actually just, you know, these are already lines. So, you know, I'm just using format as a constant of 1. Actually, we don't need diffusion. Specular doesn't matter. When you do 1 in constant, you know, what's nice is that you don't have to add a lighting. It's almost like it's emitting light almost, you know. It's not emit, sorry, but it's just flat shaded. But yeah, see, it's colored, even though my material does not have a color. And yeah, yeah, this is a little sidetrack, but I think this is a really good thing to know. So I think, you know, I can show you how I did this one really quick. So yeah, let's make, this is fine. You know, we can add a color to this one. Let's try that. So yeah, to do this, we want to make, well, let's look at in the tube. Maybe get out from wireframe mode. It looks kind of ugly, but that's okay. And yeah, it has this thickness scale. Yeah, so I think right now it's just doing in a constant manner. There is, let's see. Yeah, like this example. Yeah, so you see it has a exclamation mark. So that is, similarly to this angle scale and then the length, step length scale. You can do that too. So we need to add it here. See that in action. See, it's doing. So, if you are actually doing more like yeah. See, this is a good time. That's why, it's hard to see. So that's why I created attribute create to see it's sort of shaded. And these rows and columns, if you give a little bit more, it starts to look nicer. Yeah, it's, it's unfortunate. It's this is kind of, it has a limitation. It's kind of, twisted. It's not the cleanest, situation. But let's say that's okay. But the point is this: it's going skinnier and skinnier. And so what that means is, over the generation, it has widths in this, sort of attributes. But what I did in this example, if you have a skeleton that you want to color it, you can add it, this point width attributes, and that will create the width attributes to this point. Okay, and if I follow this with SOP to chop, yeah, this might be tricky for first timers. Right click after the attribute create, go to the chop, and then SOP to here. And by default, it makes TX, TY, TZ. Well, we're gonna turn that off. We're gonna make custom, and then with attributes and attribute scope. So yeah, it's it's there. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah, I think it's just this width might be really small, but yeah, and also this is a little. We have all these other leaves in here, so let's just isolate our this trunk part. So to do this, we can do delete. And what you will notice is this will create primitive groups for each leaf. So J and the K are in the groups. So that means after the creation of it, we can separate. So in the group, we can select else J and the K. And then since it's delete selected, so we end up with just the line. And if we, instead of this one, drag drop this delete over SOP 2. So now you see, this is the first one, right? It was thicker and it gets skinnier and skinnier towards the top. And what you can do with this is, if you just want to color with single color, that's easier. You just put a, material or you, now you can add a color, right? I don't know, what did we not use? Blue. And then, you might guess it, but delete. Yeah, this is a more quicker example. So we do J. So instead we change delete non-selected. So that'll isolate the leaves, right? And then we do that same thing for the other one, K. And then, since these guys already have a point color, So we can merge them together. Basically, we separated it, just added the color on this one, and then, yes. So now you have a color on the stem. But, I think one step forward, I wanted to show you is that, you can do some really interesting stuff with this wets. So, this part don't, it's just an example. But you can do a color lookup using this one. So make a ramp top. And yeah, I'm gonna make it, RGB. No, sort of, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then you want to right click this output and then go to chop and then top 2. So that will convert to this top. And we don't need alpha channel for now. So we just have RGB, right? And we can do, these two, you can do lookup. Like this. I think I did it in the wrong way. I think, yeah. If you want to just swap it, you can grab this, either one and then drag it to the other. Yeah, what I wanted to do is to look up using this one. And then, yeah, right now these values are really small, like 0 to 0.1. So maybe it might be nice to, make it to normalize to 0 to 1. So go to the mass range. And so it's 0.1. From range is 0 to 0.1. And then to range, yeah, you can flip it if you want. It's, if you want a 0 to be here, you can do 1 to 0. Yeah, you don't have to, that's fine. And then make sure, so we have, 14 points. That's a 14 samples. And yeah, we end up with 14, you always want to make sure it matches to your point number. And then, yeah, so I'm gonna just delete these two. So yeah, I wanna color this one to like that. And what we can do is right click this after the lookup. And then go to SOP and then chop to, yeah. And then, yeah, so this, this is something I'll be doing a lot. You can convert between like a SOP to chop, right? And then we going back to chop to SOP. And then this is a very typical workflow, comes in handy for instancing. And plug this delete into the chop to. And by doing this, we can keep this saved point position. And why we do this? We are going to do, yeah, delete this channel scope, attribute scope, and we are gonna do RGB, and then in this attribute, you can do CD0, CD1, CD2. Oh, never mind. I wanted to look at it bigger. So I hope you can see it. The axis is a little bit in the way. There you go. You can turn off axis if you want to, yeah. And yeah, so now, you have a nice lookup, and it's nice that you can animate, kind of like so. And yeah, that's fun, right? And, you can kind of get creative about, what kind of a color that you want, your branch to be. Yeah. So I hope that kind of answers the questions. And I think I went a little extra here, but yeah, I know I have a lot of questions coming in. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm going to answer John. He's wondering, how do you get the leaves to render at the end of each line? Mine are currently rendering in the middle of each circle leaf. Right, that's a good question. So you're wondering why my circle is sitting there. You probably missed earlier when I changed a see, yeah, is your circle still sitting in the center, no? So if you go to the circle SOP, and in the center, I know I have an expression here. What I did, but first let me show you what's happening. So, you can move your position of your circle, right? What I did was I matched my radius to the center to be y. So it sits in, 0, 0, 0. And on top of that, what I did was I right click here, either one, and copy parameter. And I pasted to the center, paste reference. So this is nice because now, you can always change this, right? And since it's a leaf, why not do that? Well, that's even better, right? So yeah, good question. This is nice because I don't have to change the centering all the time. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, another good question seems like Yeji. When he connected lookup 1 to chop 1, this one, to this one, I only see a flat line, not a branch. So I think you missed connecting this one to this one. Unless, this is how you would see. The reason being, this doesn't know, where, because this is just a color, right? It's just one channel. So and then, it doesn't know where these positions are, which is, it's not even listed here because it's a fundamental thing about this TX, TY, TZ. And it's actually there, if you, I don't know, you don't have to do this, but so you can convert to that. And yeah, so, it has all of these attributes and these point positions. To be able to know where this point position should go is that you connect to this one here. And yeah, it just uses this position and then keep the same, same TX, TY, TZ, but I only want to tell here to change the color using this one. So it started from this one, right? That's why it has the same amount of points. We just did a color lookup and then bring it back in as a color. Okay, cool. I think, yeah, I think we should keep going. So let me see. Yeah, great. So yeah, let's save this here. And I think this one, I don't have too much time to, I wanted to do this together, but yeah, I don't think I have enough time to do that. So let's look at this. It looks very simple and I think it's quite fun. But yeah, with the knowledge you have so far, besides, we did X, right? And then, I added A as well. And then it's a similar thing. It's a self-replicating thing. And what it's doing is, this is as soon as I learned those basic rules, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. What if I wanted to go, from the beginning, I want to go branch out. So that's, you could do that. Again, X is a nothing, right? It just doesn't even make a point itself. But we say this thing, tell X to do this. So basically, branch to the top, and a branch to see the plus, branch to the right, and a branch to the left. And then each end of them, I make a leaf, right? We just did. And then on top of that, I added A. So A is one step forward, and then branch out to the right, and then branch out to the left. So what that does is, see, it's sort of bifurcation-like, and let's go back to animation. And really, you know, why it makes it cool is that this angle is just kind of, you know, I'm using like 120. So as long as you stick to this sort of clean, you know, angles, you get really nice result. And yeah, I think another important thing here was these continuous angles. You know, you might like one look over the other, but it changes the behavior, you know, how this spreads out. But yeah, so feel free to take a look. It's very simple, as you see. And I'm doing a wireframe material and simple rendering here. Yeah, I don't mean to rush, but my goal today is to, you know, create this geometry, which won't be that bad. But I think I want to get to, you know, creating maybe one of these. Let's see. But yeah, I really want to make sure we get to instancing, because the problem is, even this has a problem that, you know, you don't want to make these generations too big. It'll crash your computer very easily. So yeah, we are gonna get started on this making of a leaf. And this is actually the time we are not gonna use L-system. And the only reason is you could make a leaf. And here in the bonus, you have example leaves. And by the way, I think this is a good timing to show you guys as well. And so you have the book, right? You know, this one. And, you know, all of this example I'm showing is pretty much there. But it's some of the code. If you could, you know, you could actually, so this is premise, and then, you know, you could copy and paste style, and when it works, it does. But not all of them are like an exact, you know, one-to-one translation in TouchDesigner. So usually like really good place that you can look for more L-system, you know, tutorials and like informations are Houdini, Houdini L-system information. And I found this amazing, amazing website. Wanna put this in the chat. Where is my chat? Today is sick for the chat box. Oh, there it is. Okay, so yeah, so if you could go to that link that I'm showing. And this website has basically, you know, this person converted all this information from the Linda Meyer book to Houdini version of it. And most of it, it just works. Yeah. So it's really, you know, you see, it's already easier to see it, right? So yeah, I highly recommend checking this out. And to be honest, you know, I copy and pasted a lot from here. And yeah, something, you know, you might not find it in TouchDesigner is that in the leaf example, where was it? Sorry, leaf. When you look for it, it's, there it is, yeah. So yeah, I basically, you know, borrowed from here. In TouchDesigner, we have this BCD, and then, I'm sorry, in Houdini, TouchDesigner, yes. But it doesn't have ENF. So what I did, yeah, what I did was, so sorry, we haven't even, touched at these variables. It's very simple concept. So you can use letter this B inside of your rules right here, CFBC, and then you can change that. So it's like a nice parameter, right? And only you have only BCD, and sometimes this example shows ENF because Houdini has more options. And if you don't find it, what you can do is just kind of hard code it. That's what I did. Where I found E, I just put the number inside. So yeah, with that being said, I want to make a leaf with a little bit more intuitive way. So let's get started. Yeah, we'll come back to this one now that we have that. And once we make a nice geometry, we can replace the placeholders. So make a base component. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's call it a leaf. All right. So we start with a line. And copy and paste the line. And this line 2, let's make it to point up. So 1 in y-axis. As well, we make it to 12 points. I'm going to turn the point display. And then follow this line 1 with copy saw. Yeah. And let's home. Hit H, you can home. And yeah, so basically I want to shape a leaf shape by changing this length of each line 1. And line 1, it's 1 now, but it's kind of changed altogether. And how do we, have an individual control over each of them? So to do that in the copy saw, we can go to stamping and then do stamp inputs, turn on that. And in the param 1, let's make a parameter called index. And in the value, so we can go to this expression mode. And then we are going to type in middle index point dot index point. I think I forgot. I always forget this. So let's look at it. Dot index point dot index. I'm going to copy and paste this one to the chat box again, so that in case you missed something. So okay, input point, index point, input point. Okay, I do that. Input point dot index. Yeah. So that's good. So what this does is it'll get index, which is this coming from line 2. It has, 0 to 11. And, each copy will have that as a sort of index. So now we are going to use that index into this point B here. So I hope I can remember this time. Fetch stamp. Yeah, when I'm speaking, it's hard to remember all these expressions. So let's look at this one. So the part I wanted to show you is this part. I know it's longer, but we start with this one. So the chat box. So I'm gonna be also posting this one on our chat box. Yeah, this concept of stamping is always a little, difficult to grasp for me, at least. But again, if you go to snippets of copy SOP, it also has an example. And yeah, what happened right now? So it did fetch stamp, and then index, and 0. So what happened is, you see the point 0 at 0, and it keeps stepping up, you see, up to 11. So the point, index 11, now the length is 11. So it's using, each index to change the length of the line. And we are halfway there. So, but we want to, use our index, but instead of that shape, we want actually shape using our we create that shape by hand. So to do this, we are gonna use animation comp. And yeah, I don't know if many of you has used this before. Let's call this one curve. Actually, never mind, it's okay. We don't have to do that. Yeah, so in the animation comp, go to play mode and then change this lock to timeline to output full range. And then we also change in the range page, the type to custom. And then here, says F, we change to samples. And now we want to 12 points samples. And it might be nice to, reference how many points this line 2 has. So here, you can type in op and quote line 2 plus and the lights. So this is also a very useful expression I use quite a bit. I'm again posting this on a chat box. So yeah, now always, it's same as this one, except we need -1. Yeah, don't forget to add a -1 at the end because it starts at 0. Yeah, so that's good. So how I edit, we right click and then edit animation. Okay. And then, so let's see. Yeah, so, this bottom window should pop up when you do this after edit animation. And in the names here, we are going to create a new name called TX and add channel. And it created a TX channel. And if you see, it's there. And then you hold Alt key, Alt, and you can make a new point and bring it up. Okay, so something like that for now. And yeah, we follow this with a now. Yeah, I'm imagining that this will be our leaf shape. We can get more picky about how it should look. But let's hook this up first. So this one, now one, we call it curve. Okay, and yeah, this, again, we go back to this line one's point B position here, and we are gonna add a little bit more at the beginning, which I don't know if I can remember, so I just go back to my example file. What I added was this part, and then also this I closed this fetch stamp with a bracket. So let me just send you this whole thing. Okay. Yeah, we are going to update our expression. like this. So you see now our lines will change, with our curves. And you can hit H for home to make your curve looks easier, fit. And you can add more than 1 point. I'll hit H on this one too. I'll add like, 1 more point there, and like, maybe something like this. And maybe at the beginning, I might want to make it more like rounded. So there's this handle. It's not the easiest editor, but it works. Yeah, so let's say that that's the shape. And then, for now, we close this so that our network gets bigger.